Hello and welcome back to Library Books and Daydreams. So today's video is a little late January wrap-up video. I was going to do a February TBR, but I think this is just going to be a January wrap-up video, seeing as I have so many books to get through and it's already partly through February. So yeah, I thought I'd read about 12 books in January. Turns out I think I read 14. I guess we'll find out at the end of this video. But I don't own some of these books anymore, so I'll just put the image here if I don't own it. The first one that I read is actually on Kindle, so I'm also going to put the cover here for you just because it'll look better. But yeah, I'm really proud of how much I read in January. I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that we were in lockdown in the UK. I'm not at work at the moment and I'm not at uni. I also had a break from uni over Christmas. Well, I say over Christmas. I gave myself a break from uni over Christmas, and then I had a week between assignments and going back to uni, which I took advantage of as well and read the biggest book on this list. So yeah, it definitely helped not having quite as much to do, and having online classes at the end of the month as well meant that I don't have to travel as much. So yeah, I think that's probably partly why I read so many books. It's probably a big part of it. And just being motivated, hopefully, which we can carry on with the rest of the year, to get through some of my massive physical TBR. So the first book that I read, which I'm going to put the cover here for, was Becoming the Dark Prince by Kerry Maniscalco. This is a novella that's set between escaping from Houdini and capturing the devil in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I really enjoyed this one. This is from Thomas Creswell's point of view and is about his relationship with Audrey Rose that is centred on around all of the books. This is just a really short novella. It was like 64 pages and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend reading it if you are reading the series. So I gave that one 4 stars. And the next book on this list was Tonight the Streets Are Ours by Leela Sales. This was like a road trip book about a girl who finds somebody's blog online and then travels to New York to try and find them. As I find with the road trip books, it disappointed me a little bit in the fact that the road trip only took place in about 20 pages of the book. The other thing about this one is that I was comparing it a lot to Radio Silence by Alice Oseman, which is one of my favourite books ever, and it did let me down a little bit, but it did kind of cover some interesting realisations that the character was coming to terms with about themselves, and I thought that was really good. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. And the next one on this list is Capturing the Devil by Kerry Maniscalco. This is the last one in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, and this one turned out to be my favourite in the series. I was rating the other ones 4.5 stars just because I kind of felt like there was going to be one that was going to be 5 and I was saving that 5-star rating. This is the one that was that 5-star rating. I'm not going to say much about this book other than it takes place in New York and Chicago, which I really, really liked, and all of the books are kind of based on true events very loosely, which I find very interesting. But yeah, I'm not going to say much because this is the 4th book in the series, but definitely really enjoy this one. It's like a steampunk Victorian, it's set in Victorian times, it's set in the late 1800s, and just absolutely beautiful. Love the romance in it, and yeah, it's great, so really enjoyed this series. So this one was 5 stars. And the next book I read in January was Chasing the Stars by Mallory Blackman. This is another one that had been on my TBR for ages and I finally got round to reading it, but sadly this one turned out to be 2 stars. I was enjoying it, and then it kind of hit a point where there was some really problematic things happening with the relationship, and the relationship just wasn't being talked about in a manner that I appreciated at all. It just wasn't a very good example of a relationship, and I feel like with the kind of audience that this is based towards, it just missed the mark completely. So yeah, really disappointed with this one, so this was only 2 stars. The next one on this list I actually read via audiobook, and this is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, and I really enjoyed this one. This was a reread for me. I hardly ever do rereads, but I really needed to reread this one before carrying on with the rest of the series. I first read this in like 2015 or 2016 when it first came out, and I want to carry on with the series, so I thought before I did I needed to carry on with it. I also wanted to try out listening to an audiobook while running, and I thought it would be a good way to try out listening to an audiobook that I'd actually already read before, and I really enjoyed this one, so this one got 4 stars. And the next book on this list was Bizarre Romance. I really enjoyed this. This is the one of the books that my boyfriend bought for me for Christmas. We actually exchanged books on Christmas Eve as part of an Icelandic tradition, and this was the one that he bought for me. And this is a collection of comics and short stories, and it's completely unexpected. I really didn't know what to expect from this one, but it was not what this book turned out to be. This is about love in completely different situations. There's some like contemporary stories, there's completely mystical fantasy stories. They're all weird, they are all bizarre. This book kind of lives up to the name, but I really enjoyed. Some of these stories were absolutely brilliant and really captured my heart, so I gave this one 4 stars. And the next book on this list is also one that my boyfriend bought for me, and this is Wide Sargasso Sea. I really enjoyed this book. This is basically a book about the mad woman in the attic from Jane Eyre, and I didn't really know that going in. So when I did find out about that, I was really excited to read it because I love Jane Eyre, and this is like the story that you never knew you needed, and you never think about, and then reading this completely blew my mind. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and this got 4 out of 5 stars as well. The next book on this list turned out to be my absolute favourite book of January, and this one was Mooncakes. I absolutely adored this book. This is a graphic novel about witches, and the artwork in this is just absolutely beautiful, and I read this one in over the course of an evening, and it got 5 out of 5 stars from me. It's really diverse, it has some beautiful relationship aspects, family aspects and friendships, and I just absolutely adored it. Yeah, I really, really loved it, and the artwork was just so beautiful and the colours were so beautiful as well. And the next one on this list was Hungry Hearts by many authors. This one was really interesting. I always love books about food, and that is why I picked this one up, and I really enjoyed it. So this is a collection of short stories, some of which are fantasy and some of which are contemporary, and they all centre around these restaurants on Hungry Hearts Row. So there's like restaurants and shops and food carts, and all of the characters have like food experiences, like food related experiences on Hungry Hearts Row. This one was really, really nice, and I absolutely loved some of the stories in it. Again, obviously with short stories, some of them are hit and miss, like you don't really know which ones you're going to love and which ones you're not going to enjoy, but this one got 4 stars overall from me. I really enjoyed it. And the next book I read was Georgia Peaches and Other Forbidden Fruit. I've had this one on my shelf for a long time, and I just finally decided to pick it up as I picked it out of my TBR jar. I quite enjoyed this one. It was about a girl who moved to small town Georgia from Atlanta, and she's gay, and basically her dad tells her to lie low and kind of pretend to be straight because of the reputation on the family, because he's married somebody. And that's why they've moved to small town Georgia. And then lo and behold, the main character meets a girl and kind of falls in love. And this one was quite good. I did enjoy it. I had some really interesting discussions and aspects, and I really liked the family aspect of it, but there was some problematic things with it, especially the relationship between her and her dad, and kind of what he asked of her and expected of her didn't quite sit right with me. I gave this one 3.5 stars. So the next book on this list is an absolute beast, and this is Prairie of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. So I decided to read this one in the week between having no uni work, so I literally had nothing on. And then I ended up having stuff on, but that's fine. So I decided to read this one, and I managed to read it in 6 days, Monday to Saturday. And I really, really enjoyed it. This was something that's been on my TBR for a while, and I really wanted to read, but daunted me immensely because of the size, and it's quite high fantasy, which I sometimes struggle with. But even though I did struggle with like grasping what was happening, I did really enjoy this one, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. All I knew about it going in was that it was gay and it had dragons, and that is kind of a good summary of this book, and I really enjoyed those aspects of it. But there is a lot of like political stuff as well, and stuff about like dynasties, which confused me. There's a lot of different characters, but I did really enjoy this one. So the next book I don't have a copy of anymore, as I've given it to my friend Courtney because I think she'll really like it, and that was The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I'll put the cover here for you, just so you can see it. This is one that I bought for my mom because I'd heard really good things about, and she really enjoyed it and passed it on to me. I really love this book. I rated it 4.5 out of 5 stars. So this is about two people who share a flat and also share a bed, because one of them works nights and one of them works days. So they kind of just share the bed when the other one isn't there, and they are destined to never meet, and that is the whole idea of it. So they end up communicating via post-it notes, which are really cute, and then eventually obviously they are destined to meet, and it is really cute. This was a lovely romance story, and I can't wait to read more by Beth O'Leary. So that one was 4.5 out of 5 stars. So the next book on this list I also don't have a copy of, as I gifted it to my lovely friend Jo because I thought it was one that she would really enjoy, and this one was Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow by Benjamin Dean. This one came out 3 days ago in the UK and I absolutely adored it. I got an early advance copy through work, so thank you to the publisher and to Waterstones for that copy. This was absolutely beautiful, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. This is an LGBT book about a kid whose dad is gay and he is trying to come to terms with it. The kid is 12. It was really diverse, it was really lovely, and it centres around London Pride, which made me miss my only Pride experience, which was Dublin Pride. It was absolutely beautifully written. I got through it in like 24 hours, and I just knew that when it arrived I wanted to pick it up and also pass it on to Jo because I think Jo will really enjoy it. But yeah, I absolutely love this book. It was really beautiful, and I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book on this list, but not least, we are nearly there guys, thank you for sticking with me, and this was You Bought Me the Ocean. I really wanted to squeeze something else in before the end of the month, and I knew I was starting a buddy read on the 1st of February, so I decided to pick up this beautiful graphic novel. This is another one that Mark bought me for Christmas, and I really enjoyed this. This again has a very different art style to Mooncakes, but is really beautiful, and this is by the same illustrator that did Blue is the Warmest Colour, which I still haven't read but really want to read, and I really enjoyed this. This was in the DC universe and is about, I know people say Aqualad, I don't really understand a lot about the DC universe, but essentially it's about somebody who finds out that he has magical powers that are related to water, and it is also about a gay romance, and this teenager has a lot of like internal struggles to do with like family and friendships and where he's going to go to college and all that stuff. It was really emotional and heartfelt and really beautiful, and I love the illustrations in this book. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. This was also really diverse, and I really enjoyed that. There's a lovely section at the end of this book that talks about the characters and kind of the importance of including different characters, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was really well done. So yeah, really enjoyed this one, and it was a very nice introduction to the DC universe that I have no clue about, so really like that as well. So that has been my mega January wrap up. So I'm not going to do my February TBR on top of this just because I don't have that many books on it. I want to read Rebel of the Sands, which I'm reading with Alex as a buddy read for the whole series, and Kingdom of the Wicked, and I want to read a classic book that I will talk about in another video. So other than that, I don't really have a TBR for February, so I'm going to leave it here. But thank you so much for watching this video, and please give it a like if you enjoyed it, and comment down below with what you read in January. And subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!